Okay, we have Nancy Charles live in studio. So here she is. Nancy, you're amazing. You're truly amazing.
Thank you so much, Andre. Thank you so much.
That's what you call being resourceful. That's right. Finding some other way to deal with the problem, to get it done despite all the odds.
This is a world of technology, so I don't know. We'll try our best to ensure that we use the technology every time it becomes available. So, St. Lucia, I am here safe. I got quite a few messages on my phone. Persons were telling me, Nancy, be safe on the road, be safe on the road. So I am here by the grace of God and also by some of your prayers. I know some of you was asking God to guide me to make sure I got here safe, so I'm here.
I hope you didn't mind me asking all those questions because I know
Andre, it was
it's
good.
A little difficult.
Maneuvering traffic, etc., and trying to remember what is it that your show is about and so forth. So it's been good. But thank you so much, Andre, again for facilitating and accommodating. It still has that clap, Andre, just so you know.
That's
so it's
right.
not something I was able to do on my own. It's because of the studio as well. So I'm very, very grateful that you guys were able to do that.
So let's welcome our folks on Facebook.
So yes, I am just seeing there. Let me welcome our folks on Facebook. Those of you asking me for the link, I am going to send you the link in just a second.
It is facebook.com/RevUp 97.1. Facebook.com/RevUp 97.1. Again,
and those of
Facebook,
you
Facebook.com/RevUp 97.1.
Right. And if you're listening and you're on, please take this opportunity to share the link with somebody. Share the link with a friend. Share the link with somebody to let them know that Meet the Opposition is on. Now, Andre, I have a very packed program for this morning, and we are running late. It's already 10 o'clock. So it means I may not be able to go into, I can show you right here, St. Lucia, you can see lots and lots of papers and documents this morning that I needed to go through. But they say everything happens for a reason, right, Andre?
Yes.
I don't know what is the reason. And as I've always said, I believe in God. I always believe that, things happen for a reason. So God is going to work it out for the best, and we'll try to do what we can.
I have a little good news for you, actually. You said it's 10 o'clock. It's actually 10 to.
Okay.
You still have another extra 10 minutes, all right?
10 minutes extra?
Yes.
Okay. Tony, my darling, if you're listening, I have 10 minutes extra. So that means you get to give me about 5 or 10 minutes of your show this morning, all right? Thank you in advance. So let's get to it quickly, Andrea, in terms of some of the things that I really wanted to go through. I also got a lot of calls last week with reference to the water tank project that we spoke about when Bradley was here, and Minister Prosper had called Timothy Polio in terms of saying there was no politics involved. I got a lot of calls from people saying Nancy's abavoyo, Latin politics abaisa, and I got testimonies. I'm not able to share names and locations lest people tie it back. But I can certainly say to you, St. Lucia, I got a lot of calls and messages from people who were saying to me that there was a lot of politics involved in the tank distribution, and even in Mr. Prosper's constituency, while I was trying to, cover up for him and say, listen, I know him and I know the type of person he is, and persons from his constituency also called me and said, Sabavo Nancy, Prosper Mem, they were privy to certain conversations where they alleged that the minister said, and there are people in his constituency who they say who's not even bona fide farmers. There's somebody who's a contractor, I'm told, them only have about 5 goats or whatever, and he has 2 water tanks. And he's one of those individuals that they say that he doesn't even need that, Andre, because he's a big-time contractor. He has an honest living and he's making good money. So it's taking bread from the mouths of people that need it to give to people that don't need it because they are your supporters. So I just wanted to say that so that my viewers can say to me, they tell me, I want to see. All right?
One thing, Ms. Charles, very, 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 very important. I find it very, very interesting that there are Labour Party supporters, right, who message you and who message me asking that you bring up certain issues. So I'm curious to know, why would they be doing that sort of thing? I mean, if the Labour Party supporters go to the government, go to their MP, why are they reaching out to you?
2 things, Andre. I'll give a little clarification. There's a difference. I mean, we have always said with United Workers' Party that not all political parties are the same. I was having a little conversation with my husband a couple of weeks ago, and he said to me that he's been maybe home a while sometimes, and he's privy to some of our Zoom calls, our discussions, etc. And he says to me he's so pleased that I am part of an organization where I can be myself. I can speak openly, I can challenge some of our leaders, etc., but I am free to be who I am. I am not part of an organization where I can't criticize or I can't say. Internally, of course, I'm not going to go out there and put all our business out, but internally. That is not so with the Labour Party. And that is why these people continue to call me, message me, and so forth. They tell me I'm Labour, but I'm just letting you know I'm not happy with this thing. It is because of victimization and the fact that the Labour Party does not operate in the same way as the UWP, where it allows for people to openly criticize them, whether it be inside or out. You cannot go to an MP, a Labour Party MP, in his office and tell him, boss, so and so and whatever, I ain't like that, this, that, and the other, what you're doing not good, and not be victimized. Once you do that, Andre, you're not getting a job, you're not getting a contract. If you are under a program that has to do with government, you will get either terminated or your contract will not be renewed. So there is this fear in St. Lucia, and we've been speaking about that, and that's why, again, unfortunately, we were not able to play our Mia tape. But that is why I continue to play that tape, St. Lucia, with Mia Motley. And I want us to get into the point where we say to ourselves, this is my country. Whatever monies government is spending to ensure that I am employed is still my money. I am contributing to this. And I have a right in this country to speak when things are not going well. Andre, can you recall when UWP was in government, the number of protests, people calling in, criticizing UWP people, and even now you have UWP people as we in opposition calling openly to criticize UWP. You ever see that happen in Labour? So that is the difference with the political organizations. UWP, we believe in empowering our people, because the more you criticize us, Andre, and you say to us, guys, we're not doing this thing right, it's the better for us as an organization. It means that we will fix the things that are wrong. You understand? So that is the difference. That and the issue of victimization is very, very real. People are afraid to lose their daily bread. St. Lucia, but I always say to you, don't worry. Hope is coming. Hope is coming. All right? Another matter, which is why I have all these documents here, Andre. Now I'll pass them on to Andre, because I'm not able to show them. So Andre can just browse through them. And so forth. And why I brought those documents today, St. Lucia, it's because it's very important. I saw something on social media a couple of weeks ago. You'll remember I saw something on social media with reference to a contract for somebody who was supposed to have undertaken works at the cemetery. And I did all my investigation, made my calls, I went around, etc., and nobody knew who that individual was. Nobody had seen the work that the individual had done. I called out both the minister and the PS in the Ministry of Housing, Dr. Ambrose, to come out and clarify and to verify to the public and assure us that the works were done. Nobody came out to do that. In fact, they tried to vilify me, Nancy, where the check, and all that Roro nonsense, etc. All right? And Andreka, and you believe, lo and behold, there's another 6 contracts that are out there again. Contracts for the Monrepo Cemetery, contracts for the Latuni Cemetery. And here's the funny thing about these contracts, St. Lucia, that I saw. All those contracts were not. Now, government procurement guidelines are, Andre, once a particular contract is over 100,000, it has to go through the public procurement process. So it means that people have to bid, and all the rigmaroles that is attached to that, right? So what they've done very carefully is to make those contracts below the $100,000 threshold, 99, 98, 70, etc. And it's amazing, Andre. You understand? It's amazing that these contracts are below. And what I did was to go through and to see, it's the exact same work. So it's almost like a copy and paste. Excavating X amount, that X amount, etc. The same amount, and they just tweak the numbers slightly. I made a few calls, Andre, to find out, well, who are these people? How is it possible that people from Castries living in the CDC are given contracts to undertake works in the Monrepo and the Latuni Cemetery, Andre? Andre, I can assure you, if you call these people, they wouldn't even know where Monrepo is, much less where the Monrepo Cemetery is. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that. But this is what is happening in St. Lucia with your money. Andre, while the Medical and Dental Association is writing to say there's no Panadol, there's no ibuprofen, while we are hearing people telling you to have a surgery at St. Jude's, they are told to go to Tapion, buy their own surgical thread. There's no toilet paper in some of the toilets. You understand? While we are going through this, you have a ministry that is issuing contracts left, right, and center to people, to their supporters, under the threshold, so that it doesn't go through the procurement guideline. And these people have done absolutely no works. Mayoka Henpe. No works, Mayoka Henpe. Do you think that is right, St. Lucia? That is where your money is going to, and you're telling me you're going to sit by and not come out and protest. You're telling me you're going to sit by and not come out and put an orange ribbon on your vehicle, put an orange shirt wherever it is you go. Do something to show that you are displeased with what is happening in this country, with the way that these government ministers are milking the treasury for their own purposes. How can that ever be right, Andre? That can't be right. So y'all can go on social media for yourself. I will not mention the names yet, but it's all over social media. All right? Over $500,000. Almost six. What I have calculated so far is $663,000 in contracts issued for Monrepo Cemetery and for Latuni Cemetery. C'est la bobola ka fait cette ici. C'est like a fait là. So you can buy your contract. Di yo kay fè work Monrepo, yo kay fè cemetery plot, yo kay fè road excavation, yo kay fè ekse moun sa pa heme kite Castries. Yo pa heme kite Castries ay Monrepo a jije we. And I want to call on Jeremiah Norbert, you know. Jeremiah Norbert needs to come out and say something about that, Andre. Kenny Anthony needs to come out and say something about that. Why is it that there is one minister of government that is giving contracts to people from the Castries area, from the city area, to come and execute work in your constituency, and you don't know about it? And not only that, Andre, you know that unemployment is a little bit higher in the out districts in these communities, in Vieux-Fort and Monrepo. And the fellas always telling you, boss man, nothing I run, give us a little work or whatever. The fellas are there looking for something to do. In order to ensure that you can keep them on the safe and narrow, Andre, give them the little work, sir. Give it to one person in the community so the fellas can work and earn a little money. Ou ka bay moun ki pa, heme fait travail an yen, ek l'argent ko la han ka ali. Kola jen sa ka ale, ki les ki ka hen la han sa. Andre, that can't be right. These are the things we must stand up against, St. Lucia. These are the things that we have to speak out against, St. Lucia. And that's what I want the bully minister to say. Now, why did I bring those documents and I gave it to Andre? Because, St. Lucia, let me tell you something. I don't want you to be fooled again, eh? I'm warning you, I do not want you to be fooled again. Because these people come, Andre, on your television and they pontificate and they call on God, Andre, and they say, well, and this, that, and the other, and they make it seem that they're so righteous and holy and they are good people, and they think that people have forgotten who they are and the deeds that they do. So I am getting a little clip. In fact, I didn't hear the bully minister. Somebody sent it to me after. But I saw a little clip on social media with Joachim Henry coming out and accusing Roche Clark, who's the candidate for Castries Central, for applying for land somewhere in Bele, Andre. And he says the land was set aside for people who are indigent and people who are poor. And Roche Clark applied for the land on the eve of the last election, etc. The boy has not been given the land, eh? the land has not even been sold to him. But the fact that the boy applied for the land and now he's a candidate for the United Workers' Party, y'all are digging into him, trying to find something to stick. Because the boy has no skeletons, Andre. The boy has no bodies hidden anywhere, in no basement, in no foundation, in nothing. The boy is clean. So they're digging, and you coming out and as if that is a mépris. You understand? So that is a mépris because he applied for land. So he's not poor. He's not indigent. What is it that qualifies him as to that he does not qualify to purchase land? What? So I thought I would remind St. Lucia, when these people come out, but they have a right to say that, St. Lucia. They have a right to say that. Because in my possession, and that's public document, y'all can go to the land registry and get it. Andre has in his possession that I have just given him and showed him 34 at minimum. Eklani pli, se samwe hajwen. 34 pieces of land paper that is owned by this bully minister over the years that he have acquired. Okay? So Rosh Pahani yon ti chote, ipa ha apply pour yon ti chote. Me ou même ni 34 and counting. C'est tout partout cette lisi. All right? So, Andrew, let me give you the stories. I'll give you the stories.
But just before you continue, so what is wrong with the gentleman applying for any piece of property? I mean, at the end of the day, it's the organization that has to say yes or no.
Exactly.
But he's free to apply for whatever he wants to.
Very much so.
So I'm just curious, what is wrong with that?
I don't know. Somebody will have to let me know and somebody will have to help me, but I don't know. All right? But I am saying...
And this has become an issue.
Yes, it's an issue. Because remember, he's challenging Richard Frederick in the Kasri Central area. And so that's the only thing they can dig up. They went to cabinet and they saw a paper, an application that Rush applied for land to buy land. But Rush he lives in Bexon. I think he lives in the Bexon area. He's from Central, raised up, etc. I think he lives there. So as a resident of the constituency, he has a right to apply for land if land becomes available to buy.
Yeah.
But did you buy your land? Did you buy your land? Andre, I remember I got a call from a family member who said to me that there's a particular development up north, up there. Now, I don't know the names of the communities, but you see when you're doing back road and you pass by Pizza and you're going around there, somewhere around that area, there's a development there, right? And the owner of that land, Andre, the gentleman owned a lot of the land there. And the gentleman fell sick. And he was in Matnik. And whilst in Matnik, he needed some emergency funds to undergo some life-threatening medical procedure. All right? And so, I don't know who called who or how it so happened, but this particular individual at the time heard or found out that the gentleman needed money. Andre, the land was valued at millions of dollars, Padna, sick in his head, gave the man a few measly $1,000 to save his life. Took his land, all right, for that. Because, when you're in distress, Andre, what you say? Well, if I die, I still don't get the land and I can't do nothing with the land. So give him the land, give me the money to save my life. It was a life or death situation. All right? And today you can boast you have housing scheme, you have millions, etc. Where on the head of this gentleman, it didn't even occur to you to pay him what the land was valued for. All right? Because he was in a distressing situation. And all these other lands that I give you there, Andre, some of them in trust for a child, some of them are even in trust for their parents, etc. All kinds of Jimmy flicks with all these land paper. You all see Andre looking at it. I'm not giving you all stories of St. Lucia. Andre is seeing them and the names are there, who the land belonged to.
Well, one particular name.
Name keep popping up over and over again.
Every document.
Okay? Every document. You have land all over the place. Mais aujourd'hui, je voulais criticize Rush because of the Rush apply pute. Et toutes ces tests out here. And there are stories that are coming in that people tell you, sometimes they had a criminal matter. And normally they ask you for surety or something like that, right? So you don't have the money. What you have the land. So you put the land, you give your lawyer, the land paper to hold that as surety and whatever. When you can't pay, you know what happened? That's why you see certain names on the paper and the names cross out and you see another particular name.
Right.
These people have lost their property, families, 34 families, maybe amounting to over 200, 300 people who could have benefited from land in St. Lucia, to use it to send their children to school, Andre, to use it to build a little house, to use it for their children to build a little, because land is very valuable. You understand? You have used these people in their circumstances when they are in need, and you have taken their land and their property, but today you want to criticize Rush Clark for applying for land. This is the level of hypocrisy, St. Lucia, we will not tolerate. Okay? We will not tolerate. And every breath that I have, in fact, when I was preparing for this, and even over the last couple of weeks, 1 or 2%, even my husband and she has said to me that, are you not afraid for your life? Because remember, St. Lucia, we are ruffling some feathers, you know. I can certainly tell you that. And yes, I am. I will not lie and tell you that I am not. I am. But I will also say to you that I am brave and bold enough that no matter what comes, I am standing on what is good, on principles, on values. And if it means that people will probably want to make me feel unsafe in my country, I will not stop. I'm telling you all that. I'm sending you all notice that I will not stop. But I know for sure that we are ruffling fellas, and I know for sure, Andre, that we are going up against people who are of unsavory character, and they will do anything to save themselves. But I am protected by the Most High God. All right? And people are saying to me that God will protect us and God will protect our country. All right? So, Andre, let's go to the other topic. Now, I want to say to our viewers that I am not too sure if we're able to take calls today. One, because of the time factor. But secondly, because what I am about to share with you, I want to share with you, is very important. And it's important in the sense that I want you to understand and I want you to get what I am going to teach you today.
By the way, do you plan to go to the special prosecutor issue? Did you plan to?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. No. We might do that next week. All right? But I did hear Mr. Chico, and I did hear the response. And I'm just going to make one simple statement. Andre, I do not understand. And St. Lucia, I want you to hear me out. And you tell me, how is it possible that Andre and I have a matter in court? All right? Andre is my lawyer, and I am the person who's taken and somebody has taken me to court. Andre is my lawyer, and I am the person they've taken to court. I ran elections, and I became the MP for a constituency, and Andre, who was my lawyer, became the Attorney General, because that's what has happened in the case. All right? Now follow me, please. Now that Andre is the Attorney General, and I am still the person, I was taken to court as a private citizen because I wasn't a minister then. The matter has now come up in court. I am now going to court as a minister of government. Andre is now going to court as the Attorney General, who was my lawyer. And you're telling me that the special prosecutor says that there is no conflict of interest in Andre going over the case as Attorney General and saying, oh, well, I don't find any reason for us to continue with that matter, etc. and whatever. You telling me that as a special prosecutor, a lawyer, you telling me that you don't see a conflict? You don't see that Andre has to recuse himself and say, listen, I cannot participate in this discussion. I cannot participate in anything to do with that matter that Nancy has, because I was Nancy's lawyer. And today I am the Attorney General. So we have to get either the Deputy Attorney General or Consul General, whoever it is. We have to get somebody else to deal with it, because I am going to be in conflict, because it was my case before. I was the lawyer. You telling me in black and white nobody can understand that? The special prosecutor says he sees nothing wrong, with the Attorney General being the one, and that he had no reason to accuse himself because he was the Attorney General. Anyway, Mami vla lansa, because lemo kachile sa set lisi. Timorizo sa. Eswa se bay sa ka fet te peyi ya. Soit nou pa do bout. Soit nou pa do bout kont ki sa le baka fe en peyi sa la. ho di ka yon moun deme kay sa ou. Ek le yive ou kay di si mwen te sav. Ok? Le we yive ou kay di si mwen te sav. Because pou la petit politique zo ka di, well, ki sa ki wrong ek sa, zo ka kite tout bay pase because of politics, because zo vote by Labour. Mete mwen di zo sa, Ernest Hilaire kay sotan au pouvoir, Philippe Jeppe kay sotan pouvoir. Ek ou kay still weste set lisi ou sav. Pays a kay still la. La vie kay still continue. Ek mwen vleman do pour me de question ça. Qui kalte la vie ou kay vle vivre en cette lycée? Qui kalte la vie ou kay vle vivre là où ni un ministre gouvernement? Qui en pouvoir, qui pas en pouvoir, il ka gen, il ka hente. Ma vle di gen, il ka hente, il ka pointe, il ka nite tout partout cette lycée. Est-ce qu'on ka di moi la pas no problème avec ça? Zo pas no problème avec ça. Tato cette lycée. Tato. All right? But let me tell you something. Andre, we are coming from bad bully minister to worse. And I heard a statement from the Prime Minister, and that is what triggered me to do that program today. You understand? The Prime Minister at the press briefing, again, to say I got the Andre, press briefing I got the publicly. So the people who are doubting when Andre says that the Prime Minister said that he threw the recommendations of the leader of the opposition in the garbage. Pa Andre ki di yon se mouna. Premier ministre nous set lisi ki di. E ki pate di yon don si gwe yon don ti meeting e kon moun e ki yo di he say, she say, they say. He said it publicly at a press briefing when he was asked about it. Okay? So when we tell you something, don't doubt. Pa try defend. Right is right and wrong is wrong, irrespective of who did it or who does it. I want us to remember that. Okay? So the Prime Minister was at the press conference, Anjuri, and he said to the reporters, because c'est juste assez Lisa yo ka target, eh? And I do have to say, Lisa, I continue to say to you, I think St. Lucia, both men and women are very proud of you. I mean, in the days of Rick Wayne, I was still a little girl growing up and stuff like that, but Rick Wayne was one of those persons who really took on the institution of government. And bravo to him, because he not only took on the John Compton era and the UWP, he worked with the Labour Party. He got them to win the election. He was really in the bosom. He was made a senator. He stood up against something that was wrong. He was fired, and he still stood up against the same Labour Party to say right is right and wrong is wrong. So that's one person that I can certainly say to you, Andrew, that I admire, that he has always stood up for his principles, his values, and what he believes in. And Lisa, I want to say to you, honey, do the same. Ensure you're not biased. I don't want you to be biased towards UWP. Neither do I want you to be biased towards Labour Party. I want you to be biased towards the truth. That's what's important. That's your job. Towards the truth. All right? So the Prime Minister says that don't ask him any question about the Galaxy. Don't ask me anything about Galaxy, the CIP. Whatever has been said, needed to be said, has already been said in Parliament. All the answers has been given. To ask me no question about it, I will not answer. That's what he said, Andre. You heard him? I don't know if you did, but that's what he said. And when he said that, I thought to myself, who exactly is the Prime Minister covering? You know, what exactly is the Prime Minister covering? And does the Prime Minister know or understand what he's covering? Now, St. Lucia, I want to say to you, I am going to dedicate a little bit of time to get you to understand who exactly the Prime Minister is covering for. The character of a gentleman called Ernest Hilaire. So I want you to take a moment again. Call a friend to tell a friend. Share the link, share the live. And let people know that we are going to go into the specifics, Andre. The documents, I have them there, of Ernest Hilaire and his history. And I want you to see that there is a pattern of behavior. There is a pattern that speaks to the character of who exactly Ernest Hilaire is. And I may not be the one to tell you what type of person he is. But when I show you and I read to you the character of this gentleman, you will surely understand who exactly Ernest Hilaire is. You will make up your mind. Because I do your bias at least Monday is on Yankee bon. Makadosa. Because Kodia Montekadi, c'est pas malchancé Ernest Hilaire malchancé kohan. Every institution that Ernest Hilaire works with, Andre, there's a problem. Every institution. Alright? I want you to see that this is somebody who's always been about himself, his friends, his family, his comrades, etc. And people like that, Andre, they will do anything for a buck. Anything. They will sell the soul of this nation. And all people tell you, si pani sutu es pani vole. So, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, in case you don't know who it is that you know you are covering up for, let me remind you. So, let's start, Andre. I will read to you a quote from Michael Holding. That's why we first, I think Ernest Hilaire, he was PS of Youth and Sports one time, etc. And then he went over to West Indies Cricket Board. Do you all remember that, St. Lucia? The cricket fans and the people who remembered about West Indies cricket. And during the tenure when Ernest Hilaire was there was a lot of halikasi with Weeper, the cricket board, players playing T20, IPL and not being chosen, etc. And West Indies was losing matches left, right and center. You all remember that? And this is what Michael Holding said in an article with the Daily Mail, which is the UK, in 2012. And let me tell you what Michael Holding said. And I quote, this is what he said. Michael Holding says, we have a chief executive, Ernest Hilaire, who thinks, he mentions the name, We have a chief executive, Ernest Hilaire, who thinks he owns West Indies cricket. He tells Sportsmail, he has the wrong attitude. He is very arrogant. Ring a bell, St. Lucia? That was in 2012 when Michael Holding made that. And I think these things were happening around 2010, 2011, 2012. Way back then. He is very arrogant. He thinks he is always right and doesn't listen to anyone. I am pausing there because I want you to think. I want you to think and tell me, have you seen anything different in this gentleman from way back when Michael Holding spoke about him? Have you seen anything? Okay? So we heard that. Then, Andre, I think somewhere in 2012, Ernest Hilaire, his contract came to an end. And based on the information that I've seen, he did not renew his contract because he was being given an opportunity to become the British High Commissioner for the St. Lucia Labour Party. Elections were called in 2011. The St. Lucia Labour Party, Kenny Anthony, won. And in 2012, Ernest Hilaire was made the British High Commissioner. And we heard nothing about him again. You know, when they go these places and you just can't mahila and go ved makula. Lo and behold, sometime in 2014, I think, we woke up to an article that was posted, I think it's the same Daily Mail actually, in the UK. I don't know if you remember that, Andre. You were at HTS at the time. And we heard that St. Lucia was in a diplomatic row over an ambassador named Jufali. Jufali was divorcing his wife. And the wife was trying to claim, I suppose what she felt was fair and reasonable. And she was claiming some property in the UK. And Mr. Jufali was claiming that he has diplomatic immunity. And I think either a minister, because it was said that this lady that he had married was close friends to Priest Andrew. She had high-ranking people. She was a model, etc. And so a minister, and both a minister of government at the time and her lawyers had written to the government of St. Lucia to say that this is a matter that is very important, etc. And they were asking the country to lift the diplomatic immunity to allow for this matter to go to the courts so that Miss Estrada, who was her name, could have gotten fair compensation in the divorce. And St. Lucia said, no way. That's how we first heard about Jufali, and that's how Ernest Hilaire came back again. Drama, St. Lucia. All right? So, let's look at the timelines, Andre. And I want St. Lucia, I want you to follow me. I'm going to try to be very careful. Let's look at the timelines. Jufali was married to Estrada for about 14 years. He went ahead in the Saudi Arabia. He married a 25-year-old. And then the lady, I suppose she got upset. Young thing come into the play, etc. She decided to file for divorce. No, she couldn't file for divorce because according to Saudi Arabia laws, you as women, you have no rights, etc. But what she did was she filed a civil suit in the UK because they had lived there and they had property there. So she filed a civil case against him in the UK. All this was happening in 2014. So Jufali now, I have to assume, did not want to give the lady anything, and he was trying to find a way to prevent the lady from going through with this matter, etc. So partner had to try and find a scheme or something to help him to ensure that he didn't pay this lady anything. All right? And in comes his savior, Mr. Ernest Hilaire. Why do I say that? Ernest Hilaire was appointed the High Commissioner in 2012, as I said. But he was never he was never sitting on the board of the IMO. Okay? I want you all to understand that. 2012, Ipate IMO. 2013, Ipate IMO. However, all of a sudden, we get this thing from the High Commission of St. Lucia in January 14, 2014, where Ernest Hilaire presented his credentials to the IMO and he became the St. Lucia permanent representative. Now listen carefully. January of 2014, Ernest Hilaire became St. Lucia's permanent representative at the IMO in January, 2 years later after his appointment. I don't know why he never went. I don't know why it was never seen as important, but all of a sudden it became important. Okay? Right. So, between January and February, Andre, February 12th. Now, these are public documents, St. Lucia. That's not private leaked documents, anybody. These are public documents. The case between Ernest Hilaire and Alan Chasney, etc. A lot of these documents are in the courts and filed all over the place, all right? So that's not private confidential information. I have others or demand confidential information, all right? Private thing all over the place, all right? 12th of February, 2014. January, 1 month later, Ernest Hilaire sends a letter to Kenny Anthony to say, now, I don't know if he met Jufali before he went to the IMO in January, Andre. I don't know if he met him over Christmas dinner in 2013. I don't know where he met the gentleman. But remember, Jufali was already going for the divorce with the lady. And the lawsuit was already filed in the UK. But Jufali and Ernest Hilaire met, I don't know where and I don't know how. But by February, Ernest Hilaire sends a letter to Dr. Kenny Anthony to say that further to my discussion with you, blah, blah, blah. So it means he would have spoken to Kenny Anthony and say, I met this great guy, whoever he is, etc. So he's officially writing to say, further to that, I would like to recommend that you make Mr. Jufali as my deputy, get it straight, St. Lucia, my deputy on the IMO. He asked for the deputy. But Andre, there were back and forth emails, and I couldn't find the email, but I had seen that email. But there was an email at some point in time where Jufali had asked whether the deputy position carries with it the weight of immunity that one would, as a diplomat, that it would carry. And we know that the deputy position does not carry that weight. You don't get diplomatic immunity as a deputy. You get it if you are the permanent representative, if you're the main thing. Mm-hmm. And so, between February and April 4th...
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
In that letter to Dr. Kenny Anthony, did he state why he wanted to make Mr. Jufali his deputy?
Let me see. Not really. He says, I wish to recommend the appointment of Mr. Jufali as the Deputy Permanent Representative for the IMO. Dr. Jufali is presently Chairman of EA Jufali Brothers, which is a highly successful businessman. He holds a deep interest in matters relating to St. Lucia and has agreed to serve at the IMO. That's it.
He didn't give the Prime Minister... 4 lines.
Why 4 lines?
He didn't give the Prime Minister any reason.
Millie, 4 lines.
Any reason?
Okay, 4 lines. Watch it for yourself.
So do you have the response to that letter? Do you have the response?
The response to that letter is a memo on April the 4th, 2014. That's the response to the letter. The response is April 4th, 2014 from the Permanent Secretary in the Department of External Affairs. It says that the ministry refers to the appointment of Dr. Wali Jufali as the permanent representative of St. Lucia to the IMO and the revocation of the appointment of Ernest Hilaire in that capacity. So I have to assume that it was agreed. I have to assume these things normally go to cabinet. I don't know. I'm making all those assumptions. But Ernest Hilaire wrote to Kenny Anthony, and a month or two later, on the 4th of April, Alva Baptiste, look, there's a letter from Alva Baptiste as well. So Mr. Baptiste, my good friend, he's my darling. He's the only person who's my good friend. Well, some of them are good, but Alva Baptiste also sent a letter. Here's the letter from Alva Baptiste to say that, and they wrote to the IMO officially. That's from Alva to say, I have the honor to inform you that Mr. Jufali is going to be our permanent representative, and we are revoking Mr. Ernest Hilaire from that post.
So,
end of story.
So no reasons given as to why the gentleman was asking the former
Andre,
Prime Minister
when Ernest Hilaire comes here, you'll ask him.
in that position.
All right?
Wow.
Because
and it doesn't seem as though the Prime Minister at that time, nor Mr.
Maybe he knew, maybe in private conversations, I have to assume, I don't know, Andre. Nobody knows what transpired. Because remember, this never came to the public. Nobody knew about this thing. This is coming out years later after all the row, etc. These documents are coming out. But I have to assume that Ernest Hilaire and Dr. Anthony had a conversation. I have to assume that. Because he said further to the discussion, blah, blah, blah. And while Jufali met Dr. Kenny Anthony did travel to wherever they met and so forth and so forth. You understand? Now, Ernest Hilaire may tell you he don't know nothing about that, but the documents don't lie. Because remember, he said he didn't know nothing about the passport. Remember, Tim had asked him, does Mr. Jufali have a diplomatic passport? And what did he say? He don't know. But the letter to request the passport came from Ernest Hilaire as the ambassador to the Ministry of External Affairs for the recommendation for the diplomatic passport for him, his daughter, his driver, his butler, his maid. How many people, you know? It's a whole crew. But he said he don't know. Okay? He said he don't know. But that's for another show. But anyway, Mr. Jufali was appointed. Here's the letter from the IMO that says you are officially appointed, etc., etc. All right. Now, that is happening. The gentleman is appointed, and boom, he's there. What did we get from that? What did we get? Did you hear anything we got from that? And let me tell you something.
Well,
you asked me.
Were we supposed to get some
So there was back and forth communication about having a research facility, a health research facility, and a diabetic center. There was a proposal for an MOU. The MOU was never signed. In fact, I saw 1 or 2 emails where Jufali Ernest was saying to him, we need you to sign the MOU, and he said, I'll get back to you on that, etc. MOU was never signed. Diabetic Research Center never came. Health Research Center never came. You think the man was ever interested in that, Andre? This is a gentleman who did not have any background or history. In IMO has to do with maritime, etc., with waters and vessels and things like that. No history, no background. In fact, his business was not even in that line. You understand? But like you asked the right question, what was the rationale? Why? St. Lucians, you put your 1 + 1 together. Why? Because we got nothing from it. Okay? We got nothing from it. What did the man get? He got a letter saying that he has diplomatic immunity, which is what I suppose he wanted. He can't be touched. He got diplomatic passport for him, his daughter, his chauffeur, his maid. All the documents are there, Andre. All of them. All right? And there's also a letter, Andre, that they made his daughter, Hala, her name was Hala Jufali. She was the honorary consul in Saudi Arabia for St. Lucia. Did you know that?
No.
Yes, pal. She was made honorary consul. She came to St. Lucia, you know. She visited, she came to St. Lucia as the honorary consul. She had to now finally come see where St. Lucia is, what St. Lucia is about, etc. She came to St. Lucia, Andre. But let me tell you something, what I read that Ernest Hilaire sent in the letter that he sent. He said that he is advising and requesting that we give powers to Hala to issue visas for people who wanted to travel to St. Lucia. Can you believe that, Andre? Can you believe that we are requesting that the lady who is an honorary consul in St. Lucia, we're not asking her to process visas, send it through St. Lucia, you know. They were asking to give her the powers to issue visas. Lawa ya embassy, ase muna embassy, pa même yo ka ba visa, yo ka do we ka hen visa, e yo ka vwe visa from process, non from process e ka hen. They were asking for this woman to be given the power to issue visas for people to travel to St. Lucia. Now, I want to find out whether that still exists. Interesting enough. All right? That's how far they were willing to go to facilitate Jufali, his daughter, and everybody. Why? Why? And then, Andre, came the issue of the joint account. I'm sure you heard about that now. The so-called joint account, I have to be clear, St. Lucia, I have to clarify it because I don't want people to sue me. I don't have money to go to court. The man say he never had a joint account, so I will not say that he had a joint account. But there was an issue that came up about a joint account. So let me give you the story about the joint account. And by the way, this is the letter from Ernest Hilaire sent to the lawyers of the lady to say St. Lucia is not going to lift the diplomatic immunity. We don't want to get involved. Cody Philip J. Nikadi, a private matter. That's a private matter. All right, that's what they said at the time. It's a private matter. We're not getting involved. All right. So we now come to the issue of the joint account. So Mr. Jufali got all his diplomatic immunity. We got no diabetic center, no nothing, etc. However, we got a request maybe was made to Mr. Jufali to finance some projects, they say, with the mission and so forth. So, you know, at least do a little something. That's what diplomats do anyway. Those who have the money, they assist, they give money. We get money from Taiwan. So nothing untowards in that. And St. Lucia, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. There was nothing wrong in that. And we have had a budget that they proposed to the gentleman. They sent him a budget for 2014, Andre, and I'll give it to you afterwards. For Journée Creole activities, £5,500. That's pounds, eh? For our 36 Independence reception, £8,500. For travel and hospitality, £33,000. For the basement kitchen and kitchenette and other things, you would have about £6,000. And for basic other little lecterns and whatever, another 1,000. So the total budget was £66,200. St. Lucia, I went and do the calculation because remember the rate of the pound has gone down, but back then at the rate that it was, that would be total about 258,000 EC dollars. So they sent a little budget to the man to say, we want you to finance that. Nothing wrong with that, St. Lucia. All right, nothing wrong with that. All right, that's fine. But what happened, and that is where, again, I want to show you the character of some people. The technicalities, the lies. Did Mr. Hilaire, did Mr. Jufali have a diplomatic passport? I can't answer that. I don't know. When you were the one who sent the memo to External Affairs and they send it back to you to say the passports are ready, this, that, and the other. Mais ou pas savent. Okay, ou pas savent. Ou pas savent. So, here is the letter, and again, St. Lucia, I don't know what's the meaning of a joint account. I think I have a joint account with my husband, Andre. We have an account at the bank. I can sign on the account. He can sign. I can withdraw money without him. He can withdraw money without me. That is what we call traditionally a joint account. If there's a technical meaning to it, I don't know what that is, so I will leave that to the technical people. All I know is that in November of 2014, a letter was sent to a particular bank in the UK from the British High Commission. The two persons who sent the letter was Ernest Hilaire as the High Commissioner and Mr. Albert Frederick, who was the Minister Counselor. So when you see him on Richard Frederick's show, il a parlé tout bas. Pas quoi il va dans sauce là, c'est ici Frederick là. Il était in the middle of it. Milila. Okay? Because remember he was the Minister Counselor at the time. Alright? So he was smack in the middle. They sent a letter to the bank. They said to the bank, we want to open a new sub-account for the St. Lucia High Commission. We want the account to be called the St. Lucia IMO account. And they gave the account number, everything, which I'll not give on air. And this is what it says. The High Commission for St. Lucia in this regard wishes to inform that the two approved and authorized signatories for this account will be Dr. Ernest Hilaire, High Commissioner, Dr. Wali Jufali, St. Lucia Permanent Representative to the IMO. These were the two persons who were authorized to sign on that account, to withdraw, to deposit, and whatever. Si ça prend joint account, masav sa yeah, but this is what it says. So you figure it out, St. Lucia. Low I do, I never had an account with nobody in my life, not with my wife, not with this. But you were signatory to this account, and Dr. Jufali was signatory to the account. So both of you were signing on that account. Both of you had access to the account. And Andre, as we go on later here, this is the audit report. I have it here to show you. This is the audit report by the Auditor General of St. Lucia when they audited the High Commission in the UK. And it speaks to the account and what transpired in the account. St. Lucia pa mwen ka di pièce se bay sa nan roula. Mwen ka mwen chou document pou mwen chou tout se bay sa. The character of this man throughout and throughout and throughout. Alright? Now, in January of 2015, a message was sent to Jufali's people, Andre, to say the bank account has been opened. This is the name of the bank. This is the account number. This is the code, etc. And it came from Ernest Hilaire, High Commissioner, to say to Jufali, we've opened the bank account. So, St. Lucia, we know the bank account existed. And the Auditor General also showed that it existed. And then in February, a message was sent to him to say that the funds has been received, $66,180. It was short of $20, Andre. They asked for $66,200. But the email says the funds have been received, $66,180, pounds, or like I said to you, about $258,000. Ek mi se la drama kumasi.
So just to backtrack a little, because I remember the minister saying he never owned any joint account with anybody,
Okay.
blah, blah. I remember those statements very, very well.
Right.
And you're saying that account actually existed?
Yes.
And he was a signatory to that account?
Yes. Any more questions? Yes. Andre, let me tell you something. Yeah? You see, when people trying to deceive a nation and deceive the people too, that's why I brought the land paper to show you, and that's why I'm giving you the stories of these people, that when they pontificate and beat their hands on their chest and they want to go after people for petty little things, when they have bigger schemes in their closet. $258,000, and we have an audit report. We have an audit report, St. Lucia, by the Auditor General. Now, this is not me. Every financial year, Andre, the Auditor General is supposed to undertake a financial audit of the government of St. Lucia, all statutory corporations, all institutions, all foreign embassies, etc. All right? This is the audit report of foreign missions for 2015, and the audit report covers the period. I have it highlighted there. It covers the period for the financial year ended March 31st, 2013, 2014, 2015, which is the years that Ernest Hilaire was the High Commissioner. Okay? This is the audit report by the Auditor General. And Andre, let me tell you something. And St. Lucia, I am going to read this specifically because I want you to understand that a man, in my opinion, like Ernest Hilaire, should have never, ever been out on the streets roaming. He should have never been allowed to run for elections in this country, and he should never be allowed to be a government minister. Because if he was a high commissioner And these things that are written in there about this man, his conduct and his misconduct and his misappropriation of monies and of funds. You understand? As a high commissioner, can you imagine what is taking place in Galaxy when we tell you that over $2.7 billion of St. Lucian money is being given away to a Chinese company that you cannot see a cent of? I took the time to bring this to you so that I can get you to understand that when we tell you these people have no morals, they have no values, they cannot stand in front of you. When you see them, you always have to think in your mind, say vole, deceivers, cheaters, and that is a habit that they have. It didn't start yesterday, it started way back, and they have continued, and we have facilitated them in the name of politics.
So
that's what we've done.
So at the time of that joint account issue, did your government at the time, or was it
that's during their tenure, because during 2014,
right. So you were in opposition
we
at
were
the
in
time.
opposition at the time.
Did you all raise
we did know nothing about that, Andre.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knew, Andre. Nobody knew nothing about Jufali, about the joint account, nothing, until that Range Rover issue, which is what I want to get to. I may not be able to do it because it's 10:45. Until that Range Rover issue came about, and then we started uncovering. That's when we knew there was a joint account. Nobody even knew. The audit for that was done 2015, 2016. Years later. How many years later? You understand, Andre? And that's why the Auditor General said that nobody knew about the account. Ernest Hilaire never sought permission from the Accountant General to open up that account. That's what it says in the thing. All right? He never sought permission to open that account. Sorry, I was just getting a message. He never sought permission to open that account from the Accountant General, which was the right thing to do. And because he never sought, he never even reported that the account existed. It was only when they did the audit, that they found out, that there was this account and it existed. And let me give you a few things that they said before I get into the account. I think we'll close with the account. Next week, St. Lucia, we will certainly go into the vroom vroom, because I have the documents too. I want you to understand this gentleman and the history. C'est pas il était qu'a fait depuis temps passé qui qu'a continué. Yo nous l'ont mama ni vieux mes. Est-ce que l'on voler hodia, écoutez be hodia. Pas hodia il commence voler hein. Changer nous toujours ka dou ça. Là ou che be yo hodia, c'est pas hodia yo commence André. Hodia ou che be yo, mais pas hodia yo ka fait. And the audit report shows not today that man has been misleading, not honest, and not good character. Let me read you. Section 5.3 says, our audit of the London High Commission revealed that the High Commission did not maintain expenditure to ensure that the amounts provided in the estimates were not exceeded. We found instances where expenditures were charged to accounts which were not approved for the commission. That's section 5.13. All right? I didn't say that. They said it. Under section 5.2, budgetary information was not recorded in the High Commission accounts. All right? Budgetary information was not recorded in the High Commission account. And lower down in section 5.23, Andre, it speaks to expenditure per commission and expenditure per government. And for 2013, 2014, 2015, there's a difference each year. 946,000, 774,000, 939,000. A total of $2.6 million, St. Lucia, that cannot be accounted for between the years 2013, 2014, and 2014, 2015. 3 years. $2.6 million. Go and get the audit report. It's a public document. It's available. Go and read it. Go and read it, Andre. All right? St. Lucia, let's go to another section, Andre. There's a few sections that I just highlighted because the report is very long. You can go through the entire report. Section 5.77, accounting for revenue. Passport revenue was not always paid into the consolidated funds. So what happens when you're overseas, Andre, you in England or whatever, you're applying for your passport, you have to pay for the passport. And when you pay for the passport, you give them your money. The money is supposed to go where? Not in the consolidated fund deposited. It says here in 5.7, revenue collected for passport purposes is expected to be paid in the Accountant General for credit to the appropriate revenue account. Also, on the government's modified cash basis of accounting, revenue should be recorded in the year of it is received. Passport revenue was not always paid into the consolidated funds. Kola, Kote l'argent, allez. Where is the money? And here's the kicker, Andre. I saw that one and I shook my head. Section 5.82, St. Lucia. Listen to that, No authority was seen for rent charged to the tourist board. And what that means. Tourist board, apparently, they were in the UK, they have their branches everywhere. They were renting from the British High Commission office, so they give them a little space, maybe a desk, a little office or something, and they were paying rent. It says here that the revenue was £1,700 from the St. Lucia Tourist Board. Rental of office space was being paid to the High Commission every month. £1,700. Paisi or Messi. It says here in section 5.82, all sources of revenue should be reflected in the budget and duly approved. During our previous audit, we reported that the High Commission collected monthly rental revenue of £1,700 from the St. Lucia Tourist Board for rental of office space. No authority was seen for rent charge to the Tourist Board. Where did that money go, Andre? Who authorized you to rent to the Tourist Board, and where did that money go? All right? Now, in addition to that, Andre,
but sorry,
and we're getting ready to wrap up.
Before you continue, this is an audited report, right?
A public document. You can go to the Printry, ask for the audit report for 2015-2016, and you can get all the information.
So clearly there were some irregularities taking place. So let me ask you, if you were in government at that time, and you knew a minister, you see the report,
a high commissioner,
right? Mm-hmm. As a government, aren't you supposed to follow up on those things?
But you must. You must find out what transpired. That's why the audit report is not just for a report and put it there and say, we found this, Questions have to be asked. And Andre, if the law, I don't know what the law is. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not too familiar with all the laws. But if it is that because of the law, you cannot take, maybe the person has immunity from whatever, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know. But if it means that this individual, all right, he cannot be held accountable for all these things. It means you as a party, there are certain things you can do. You should never allow Met to run for office and become a public figure, Andre. Unsavory character. That man should not be walking the streets of St. Lucia for this. That's your money, St. Lucia. That's our money. We sent you up there to take care of our business, and all the time you were doing your own thing. Unaccountable. So if you couldn't do anything legally, I think as a party, Andre, you should never have let that man run on a seat on your party. You should and today, that man is the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia. That's what we have as a government. I mean, come on. No integrity. None. And let me finalize by saying, the report went out because I had to summarize it for you, Andre. The report went on to say, Andre, I can give you the check numbers and everything. The report identified by check numbers. All right? They decided to audit that particular now. They came to the IMO account. They said they didn't get permission. Nobody gave them permission, but they decided to audit the account. Andre, there were over 20 or more. They said that they didn't get no reconciliation was done, No proper bank reconciliation. They give them a book with check stubs in it. A used checkbook with check stubs. Pamakidi, the report that says it. When they went for the check stubs, Andre, there were almost 20 to 30 checks that they were blank. Those that had nothing on it. and they give you the check number. It was just an amount, but they don't know who it was written to. Okay? I want y'all to understand that, St. Lucia. So the check number 103, no name, $100. So you don't know who the check was written to. Then there were checks, Andre, that were written to Ernest Hilaire, Tom Jones, Dak, whatever the names are. It had the name of the person, it had the amount, but it never identified what these people were being paid for. Check to Andre Paul, check number 1110, Andre Paul, for creating an ad for my... You understand? The checks are supposed to have all of that. 20 to 30 checks written to different persons. Okay? No information on the stub. So nobody, the accountant general says they don't know why those payments were made. They just know they were made. And when we tallied, Andre, when we tallied that the checks that were written to in the name of Ernest Hilaire, based on the report, it amounted to over $33,000 EC that was written to him that we don't know what for or why. What was he being reimbursed for? What was he being paid for? In the report, it is recently the report said it. It gives a check number, everything. All right? What were the payments for? And then there was another account that was created called HCFSLIMO. We don't know what that account was, who opened that account, but $99,000 was transferred from the main IMO account to that particular account. All that is in an audit report. All of that, Andre. All of that, St. Lucia, is in an audit report. And we have this individual walking and roaming the streets of St. Lucia. You understand? Playing that he is goody. All right? And all these things were uncovered because of what? A vehicle. An invoice for a vehicle, St. Lucia. That's what this is about, you know. An invoice for a vehicle, and we uncovered the whole scam of what was happening before. That's why I tell you, long chebe yo ho dia. C'est pas ho dia yo commence voler. Pas ho dia yo ka voler. E ko ka hen tout sa yo te ka faire. So where's what happened, Andre? Ernest Hilaire was coming to St. Lucia. I'll give you the summary, St. Lucia. We'll go into detail next week. Partner was getting ready to come to St. Lucia. But before that, as an ambassador, you are entitled in the country where you're at, Andre, you would be entitled to purchase a private vehicle, duty-free concession like we call it. That's the terminology. They call it tax-free up there. But let's say duty-free concession, you're entitled to that vehicle, one vehicle as an ambassador during your tenure. A vehicle for you, Andre, not for Tony. It's your vehicle.
And that's in St. Lucia, right?
No, in the UK.
In the UK.
In the UK.
Okay.
Ernest Hilaire said it, not me. He said that he used the concession, he purchased a vehicle, his brother sent him the money. Mem brother is at least he's a PS of economic development. Okay? His brother sent him the money and he purchased a vehicle for his brother, a Range Rover for his brother. He used his duty-free concession to purchase the vehicle for his brother. Now already that's already wrong. Because, Andre, they give you the concession for Andre Paul. You're the ambassador. When you go and buy the vehicle, they ask you, is this your vehicle? You say yes. Umati. Because c'est pareil kwa ou gen. Ou gen by Tony qui se fwe ou. Ou hamati la. Ou kompon? I pa même realize se sa ika di nou. The concession belonged to you, sir. Not to your brother. But you said you took the money. Your brother sent you the money. It was not your money. He sent you the money. That's what you said. And you purchased a vehicle for your brother with your concession. Fine. You got away with that one. We know it's wrong. We know you cheated the system, but that's okay. But he was getting ready to come home. And you know, when you come in home, Andre, you're allowed a container to come in with duty-free concession. All diplomats. You can buy stove, fridge, car, everything you can think of. Washing machine. Just put everything in the container and you send your container down. When it reaches, upa pay chore duty. In fact, I think the government is also responsible for paying for the container to come down for you. That's the little perks you get and stuff like that. So he's preparing to come home and he realizes that he needs a car. But here's what. He can't get the car duty free because he used his duty to buy the car for his brother already. Mm-hmm. We understand that, right? So he's going to try to find a way to buy the car duty free. A key duty setly see. When they learn to calculate ça, maybe about £5,000 or whatever, maybe about $30,000. Pas memo shaila ha. Pas memo shaila ha. But he couldn't buy the car duty free on his name because he had already purchased the thing for his brother. So there's an email where you see a gentleman called Tafawa Williams. That's another story. I will say to you, another whole story. But Tafawa Williams apparently tried to purchase the car on his name duty free for Ernest. But he couldn't get it duty free because Tafawa Williams had already used his duty free. I think to purchase a car for his wife or somebody or whatever. So Tafawa didn't have duty free concession because he was working at the mission at the time. Ernest didn't have concession. And lo and behold, an invoice appears, an email comes through from the people that says, are you confirming that the car being purchased is for the private use of the British High Commission? So what happened now, Andre? The car was purchased under the name of the St. Lucia British High Commission. Since it's purchased on the High Commission, it's for the private use of the commission. It means you get duty-free concession, right? So there's the document to show that. There's also the invoice to show that the name on the invoice was what? St. Lucia High Commission, care of whoever it is who went and paid for it. I think Tafawa paid for it or whatever. And then the car was then put into a container and the car came down to St. Lucia. When it reached St. Lucia, drama. They processed the container, everything was given, etc. and so forth. So then customs then started saying to him, well, we need to finalize and process everything. We need proof of purchase or proof that the car belongs to you, because they had given it to him on what they call it a pre-delivery. If you don't have all your documents, they can tell you, look, take the thing and go, and you'll bring back the documents after so we can fix up everything, all right? In a nutshell. So they let him go with the car, and he was supposed to come back and present the invoice to show that the car belonged to him. He purchased the car, and that's the drama. He can't show an invoice in the name of Ernest Hilaire. He's saying he has a bill of lading. St. Lucia, a bill of lading is not proof of anything. A bill of lading is more or less a listing that says, in my container, I have a car, I have a fridge, I have a stove, I have a washing machine, I have a mattress, I have a bread, etc. It doesn't prove that they belong to you. It just proves that this is what is in your container. And the difference with that, the washing machine, and you just put that at your home. The fridge, you just put that at your home. But the vehicle, you must register the vehicle with transport board, get insurance, get this, etc. Now when you buy a car, Andre, and you go and get it registered for insurance, you don't have to show them your invoice, your this, your that, so that they can say, okay, this is Andre's car, registered, put it in your name. So partner panisa. And that's where the whole drama begins. Thaddeus Antoine, who's the lawyer, came on television, talk all kind of nonsense and say if you have a ticket and you're traveling, you can give it to somebody to go and buy thing at Colombian Emeralds. Wrong. Oh, that's what Ernest Hilaire did, blah, blah, blah. Wrong. And that is where Mr. Chico, who was the then controller of customs, kept saying, sir, we need to fix, because it's a customs matter. When they try to make it seem as if Chico was going against Hilaire, no, that's applicable to everyone. If you get a pre-delivery, Andre, and the customs give you a little bly and say, listen, due to time or whatever, you'll get your documents in order, take the thing and go, you'll come back and bring the documents, you must come back and bring the documents. 10 years later, 12 years later, but how many documents? You can't bring one document that has gone to court, back and forth, everything. You cannot say to the people of St. Lucia that this is my vehicle. You say, oh, it's your money. Okay, so even if it's your money, but why did you purchase it in the name of the High Commission? Why did you allow for the car to get a duty-free concession it was not entitled to? If you are an honest man, Andre, and you go and buy something and they give you the wrong change, you're not saying to the cashier, sweetheart, I think you give me the wrong change. You're not going to say that?
That's what it's supposed to do.
So you buy the car, you know you're not entitled to duty-free concession. The car was purchased and it got duty-free concession. You never queried it and say, but how I got duty-free concession on that car? I was not entitled to it because I had already used my concession for my brother. Why you never said that? Why? I'm telling you, St. Lucia, that the character of these people is questionable. So they try to make it about everything else, but I'm telling you, it's about an invoice and showing that this is my invoice, that's my vehicle, I purchased it in my name. Show that. That's all. If you show that to customs, everything finish. You telling me 12, 13 years later you can't give one invoice? One invoice. And St. Lucia, this is the man that the Labour Party has as the Deputy Prime Minister. This is the man that Philip J. Pierre is covering up for. And he said, don't ask me no question. Next week, we will go into the contract of Galaxy and BMAX that this same Ernest Hilaire, same character also, same name over and over and over and over again. We will go into it. But I wanted to share all that information with you so that you can clearly understand this is not a witch hunt. This is nothing personal against Mr. Hilaire. These are the facts of the matter. These are the issues that we have to deal with, and this is what your Deputy Prime Minister stands for in St. Lucia. I thought it was important to show it to you. Fegio with power. Now I am out of time. I did ask for extra time, and my darling Tony gave it to me. It's 11:05. So I do have to say to you, St. Lucia, my apologies again for starting the program late. We use technology, so who knows?
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time I'll be able to stay at my home and we can do the show and I don't have to come up to Kashmir. Who knows?
As my grandfather said, don't take that for a hobby. Right.
But St. Lucia, I really hope that you understood. And let me tell you something. Once Andre gets it, I know all of you get it. That I can guarantee. Once Andre say, oh, now I understand, I know all of you understand. Okay?
But even the issue, but even the issue of him basically saying it's for his brother, that should have been raising eyebrows right there.
And he said it himself,
within the administration.
And he said it himself, and said that the car belonged to my brother.
Right.
And so forth, and my brother sent the money, and I mean, come on. If you do that, Andre, you should not even come out and say that. But you feel so emboldened. You feel that there's nothing wrong with it because it is so common for you. It's so common for you to do the things that are wrong that you don't even see that it is wrong, that you coming out publicly and say that. And then you have my good friend Thaddeus coming on television, on Teams program and saying, oh, well, if you have a ticket and you're traveling, you give somebody your ticket to go and buy some jewelry duty free. That's almost the same thing, etc. It's still wrong. The ticket is in my name, not in Andre's name. I should not give Andre my ticket to go and buy jewelry. If I want, I should go and buy the jewelry and give it to Andre as a gift. And say, Andre, Merry Christmas, I love you. Here's a little gift I purchased for you at duty free. But I should not give Andre my ticket and go there and Andre pretending to be me to use my ticket to buy. It's wrong, Andre. These things are wrong. And St. Lucia, we need to hold our people in authority to a higher standard.
I know that too. We also need to have checks and balances, because it seems all these things just go underneath the radar.
It is. It's okay. That's what supporters say. It's okay. Right. Anyway, St. Lucia, I am grateful to God that I got here safe and sound. And this has been another edition of Meet the Opposition. I have to say to you, it's very sad that we're not living on a very high note. We're living on a note where it's causing us to think. It's causing us to think. And I want you to think over the weekend. I want you to take a little time to go back over the show. Maybe you heard it and, let it sink in. Go back, sit down and view it again. Listen to what I have just presented to you and make a conclusion. Whether you Labour or Flambeau, it doesn't matter. Always remember I said to you, you have to be a St. Lucian first. And ask yourself, do I want another 5 years of this? That's what you need to ask yourself. Am I going to be able to go through another 5 years of this? Next week when we present BMAX and Galaxy and the billions of dollars, you will ask yourself, can St. Lucia allow itself to go through this? Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for your time. It's raining. It's still raining. Be safe. Those of you who are in areas where it's prone to flooding, please be careful, be mindful. And St. Lucia, enjoy your weekend.